Annyeonghaseyo, Shingus. I am Patty Elhoff. That was a little nod to my Korean friends. And I'd like to show you all how to make this decoupaged terracotta pot today. So here's what we need. Clay pot, and you need to spray the inside. It's really important that you do spray the inside and the outside of these, because once water gets in there it seeps through and that will be the end of your work. You can skip the terracotta sealer and just use a spray paint. I use this Rust-Oleum Painter's Touch. I love the color. It's called Heirloom White. Perfect for what I wanted to do. Several sponge brushes. A fine mist sprayer. That's going to make your work a lot easier. Decoupage glue. Collage Page happens to be my favorite. Decoupage scissors. If you'll notice, these have a curved ending there. They're smaller. These are all available at the craft store. You can use your coupon, get them at 40% off. They're still not that expensive. Some glue, and I am using 527 multi-purpose glue. You may have your favorites. String, twine, rope, however thick you want it. Last but not least, our napkins. You may want a top coat on this. The decoupage medium that I'm using works as a top coat, but I will probably, just because this can get very wet, I will probably be using a top coat on this too. These are the napkins I'm using because I like that there are flowers that are growing upwards instead of a random pattern where there's just flowers all over the place. While you are gluing your string around the pot, which I'll show you how to do in just a moment, to make it easier to work with these napkins and to cut them, take your napkin, take your decoupage glue, and carefully put a layer of decoupage glue just over the images where you're going to cut. Put that on there and let that dry. If it's humid where you are, you can put it in your oven. I love to put my craft projects in the oven that I need to dry without baking them. I put them in the oven cold, set the oven to 200. When it reaches 200, a little bell goes off, and then I turn the oven off and I leave my things in there to dry. That way it doesn't cook it, bake it, burn it, scald it, discolor it. It just dries it. So if it's not too humid where you are, you could just leave it out to dry, and this will probably be dry by the time you're done with your string. You can use hot glue for this. I'm just going to use a glue called 527 multi-use glue. I don't think you should use craft glue. I wanted this to be a little more firm in case it's rainy or wet, although I'll probably keep this inside anyway. So what you want to do is just add a bead of glue about this far down, and I'm just going to put the glue right here, add my string to it, and I'm only going to go around about this much of it, just around. And I'll just keep going around, adding glue, and then string, and glue, and then string. And now that we've got the string done, and our napkin is dry, I would like to show you a couple of tricks for cutting the napkin. This is why these scissors are so important. I would not be able to do this with large scissors. You may want to cut out the whole image first with large scissors. Move your scissors back and forth and make a nice little zigzag pattern like that. And that is what I did here. And you can see it still looks pretty natural. Here's another trick when you're cutting. This is why I painted this the almost same color as the background of this napkin. It's going to save me some work. Instead of cutting into every single crevice so that the background shows through, what I did was I cut into a few of the crevices. You cannot tell that some of this is cut out so you can see the background of the pot and the string, and some of it, it's still the napkin where I didn't cut out because it's the same color. So that will save you a little bit of time, and I want to show you how it looks if you don't cut it out at all. It's okay, but you can see the background. You see how this is sticking out? Not too crazy. You can get away with it. I'm not crazy about that, and you may not be either. So that's why I'm showing you how to cut that out. Okay, we'll take the image. Let's pull back a little bit here. And you see I've got a lot of excess here. That's fine. You can place this wherever you want it, over your string, although do go over the spot where you began and ended, so we'll be covering that up. Place your image over where you want it to go. Now on a larger pot, don't forget, you'll be using most of that. But because we're working with a smaller pot, you want to gauge this, get an idea where you want your image. Take your decoupage glue, put some, I'd be pretty generous with this at this point, right there where you're going to put your image. Cover the string. I always go around the bottom and over the top. And then take our image, place it where we would like it. Press it down a little bit, but this is where our spray bottle of water comes in. This is still going to go through the napkin, but because we've already put a layer of decoupage glue on there, it's made it tougher so it won't tear. It's easier to work with now. And because we're working with string, it will help the napkin to get into those crevices. Put a little more decoupage glue over the top, but do not run the brush back and forth like this. That could rip. What you want to do is take the tip of it and push the napkin down onto the surface. Looks like a big old mess right now, I know. You can also pull on this a little bit if you'd like. Since we reinforced it, it's okay to do that. Again, looking very messy. You can use your fingers to press this down a little bit too, since we've made it more sturdy with the decoupage glue beforehand, it's less likely to rip or tear. Just want to be careful you don't have too much glue on your fingertips, because then it starts to pull the paper away. So I prefer to use the brush for that reason. The brush is still wet as opposed to sticky. This bottom part, I'm going to take my scissors and cut off. Not all of it, I don't need to be exact right now, but I do want that to still overlap the bottom there. You can see this is going to take a little while to dry. So what I'll do is I will pause this. I'll work on the other side while this is drying, and then I'll come back and show you how it looks when we're done. Also, when you have a word like this that's on the napkin and you want to cut out, this is another reason why I painted the pot the same color as the background of the napkin. You don't want to spend all day cutting these letters out. You can always stencil them on or stamp them on if you've got all of those supplies. However, another neat trick is once you make sure that you've got the same color in the background, you do want to cut some of it out, but all I did was pretty much went in line, like instead of anything choppy, I just made sure to stick with the same type of a style as if I was writing, which is instead of printing, which would be kind of block cutting, you would kind of just loop it, loop it, loop it, and you see how it's, sorry, I was out of focus there. And I just went around the letters like this. So it's not exact cutting, but because this is the same color background on the napkin that I painted the pot, you don't have to worry about it. It will come out looking like that. Kind of matches this twine or string also, which is pretty nice. Alrighty, so these are the finished products. The smaller one that we just worked on together, I covered in a high gloss, and you can see it's got glitter, glitter, glitter everywhere. So a little close up on that. So you can still see the design of the lavender. I just like that this will probably be outside or somewhere near sunshine, and that is going to pick up all of the rays outside. I can really appreciate that from a distance. This is the original one that's much larger, and it does not have a high gloss on it. It's just got a flat face. If you want, you can take a nail file, a heavy grit nail file, just like one of these, file all around the top, file all around the top and the base to get any of the leftover off around there. It comes right off. And before I go, I'd like to thank you for watching. I'll let you know I am the author of the book Upcycle with Decoupage. My name is Patty Elhoff, and there are several projects in here that I hope to inspire you. You can get this on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and as a thank you for watching today, I will tell you that there's a site called Skobe, S-K-O-O-B-E, Skobe Books. If you Google it, it'll come right up. You can get the book for the best price there. And please subscribe. I'm adding new videos every week. I hope you enjoyed this one. And let me know if you have any questions, okay? Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.